Hello, everyone. That was the absolutely delightful and beautiful Alice Coltrane. And from wherever you are today, we are calling you into a beautiful conversation on the occasion of her birth. And as you get yourself in place, we're going to offer these words from Lucille Clifton just to invite you into the space, to invite your shoulders to come down off your ears, to invite your spirit to reconnect with your body as we celebrate Alice Coltrane by Lucille Clifton. Won't you celebrate with me? Won't you celebrate with me what I have shaped into a kind of life? I had no model, born in Babylon, both non-white and woman. What else did I see to be except myself? I made it up here on this bridge between starshine and clay. My one hand holding tight, my other hand. Come celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and has failed. That was Lucille Clifton. I am Vanessa. I am joined on the line by Morgan. Are you there, Morgan?
Hi, family. Hello, sister.
Hello.
Hello. Somebody on the beach the other day said, Vanessa's the calm one. Morgan comes in with, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I was like, you mean freedom? I say, you mean freedom? I come in with that freedom for you. Oh, my God, Vanessa. And I reject categorization.
That's right. You cannot crunch by other people's reality or you will be eaten alive.
Because Vanessa be free too. That's what I'm saying, and I be calm too. But
yes,
on this day, I just saged my whole house down. I put sweetgrass between my hands. I swept the floor like the African women do before the sun sets, and I just said, everything that is not life and love be gone as I am sweeping away. And I just am delighted to have this conversation today. I am delighted. I am walking down the road in my house. The sun is setting here in South Carolina. I got my Martha's Vineyard bag that you made me take home.
That's right, Black Dog.
Black Dog bag, yes. I got some apples in here that was going, kind of soft. I'm going to give them to the horses up the road. What is this?
This is a live walk and talk. Y'all welcome. Hold on, we're going to let Tyrene get the production together and then we'll look, y'all know who it is on the line. Thank you, God, for this community. We are so grateful. The prayers that come in every day, the text messages, the emails, the women who said they are excited to join us. I was thinking, Morgan, I was like, shoot, this feels like a reward at the end of what felt like a emotional week to be able to have this walk with you. I was like, even the time feels good to me.
It feels really nice. Passam and I went to the beach yesterday, and on our way back, I'll post it on Instagram. On our way back, the sky was so beautiful, and today it is similar. It's like this feathery cover of clouds, and then the sun is just bright behind it, and it just looks like the eye of God coming through. It's so gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. And it's kind of breezy. But I am trusting and believing, and I was watching that Michael J. Fox documentary, which is really beautiful. They use old footage from all of his TV shows and movies to tell his story because he has what is it?
Parkinson's.
What is the disease? Parkinson's. He has Parkinson's disease, and the movie is called Still. And he said, as a child, I didn't have enough faith to be still. And I was like, whoa, that hits home. So, even about the recording. So, Vanessa, today is a big day, not just because we're walking in community with some of the most beautiful and energetic and healthy and loving women on the planet, all of you, but because we are relaunching something that is dear to us, which is called the Daughters of Conversations. And I am Morgan, the daughter of Carol, the daughter of Letha, the daughter of Willie, the daughter of Sarah, and I want to know who you're the daughter of, Vanessa.
I am Vanessa, the daughter of Annette, who I'm asking you all to lift up in prayer, the daughter of Olympia, the daughter of Melvina, and the daughter of Katie.
And wherever you are, I want you to stop in your tracks and say with your daughters of story, I am, say your name, daughter of, say your mother's name or someone who mothered you in real life or in your imagination, the daughter of a grandmother or foremother, and just keep going back as far as you can. And it may be one name. It might be, I am Morgan, daughter of Harriet Tubman. So this is for everyone. So we will stop and pause for that. Now I ask you to think of what those women needed. Not even what they had, not their power, but what they needed. And I want you to walk in the direction of that word. So I'm going to think of mine. Vanessa, you think of yours. We'll give people a chance to think of their one word of what those women needed. And we are in a place of abundance, going to walk toward that for them today. So when I was saying my names, I was like, okay, Carol, that's my mama. And I was like, Letha, that's my grandma. And a flood of just anxiety came even when I said her name, because I know a lot. And mostly I just found a picture of my grandmother. And then my great grandmother was on Black Wall Street, because they're from Oklahoma, Tulsa. And a flood of stuff came to her when I said Willie. My mom just told me some stuff that she was really unkind to my grandmother, and that she would physically just beat her into acting right. And I had never heard that story before. So every time I say her name, and just a prayer for tenderness and love in my own life comes over me. But I was thinking about my grandmother, and I just found a picture of her and my grandfather hugging in front of their farm. He had his arm around her, and I'd never seen anything like that before. I never even imagined my grandmother as sensual. And it's like all grayed out, and nobody in the family had seen it before. My Uncle Bruce had found it. And so I am walking for tenderness. What are you walking for?
Such a good question, because I called one of my aunts yesterday. My aunts have all been like my second today, sorry, just a few hours ago. And my aunts have all kind of been like my second moms. And I was talking to one of my aunts, and this particular aunt will tell you just so many family stories within such a fast amount of time that your head will just have whiplash. One of her favorite stories is that Quincy Jones got caught sneaking into, we grew up in Seattle, in the window of my Aunt Tricia, who was the finest woman on the block. But today she told me a story about, she just laid down so many family traumas, like one after another, in this kind of, not a matter of fact way, but a like, because Auntie so-and-so survived this, and Auntie so-and-so survived this, and Auntie so-and-so survived this. And she was telling me how when she was 17 years old, she gave birth to her first child, and the child died in the hospital. They took the child to, they said they were going to take the child to the incubator, and she said they just came back and told her that the child was gone. And she just said, because I'll never forget the day, it was the day Martin Luther King got assassinated. And and she was like, oh, and she said, and I'll never forget, because I went in on a Friday and nobody came to visit me, and I left on a Saturday. And just the way she said that she lost her baby on the day that Martin Luther King got assassinated, I'm walking for protection for my auntie, protection for my mom, protection for all of the Black girls who are out there who haven't gotten protected, protection for the offspring of the women who Alice sheltered herself in her ashram in California, protection for the million women who are on this call who are doing God's work, protection for your baby girls who are navigating the streets like I'm calling in protection for us.
So we want to know what you're walking for. So wherever you are, just say it out loud, what you are walking for today. We are the daughters of daughters, powerful women, freedom fighters, lovers, like gurus, soothsayers, alchemists, powerful foremothers who made a way out of no way. And today we are walking bravely in a new direction of blank. Fill that in for your foremothers. Vanessa, today, what is this show about? Oh, I'm so excited. I was like, why is this so important to you?
Yes. Oh my God. Let me tell you, first of all, it's important to me because this is our answered prayers of 25 years ago when we were just young kids in college and we were telling Black history stories and exchanging poetry. And I dreamed then and knew then I was a journalist, and you knew then you were a journalist, and we didn't have those type of titles then, and we didn't even have those type of plans, but we knew that we would talk to powerful and amazing people all in all sorts of ways. And I was just celebrating for us that we get to have this conversation, that we get to have it with Michelle Coltrane, whose parents were Alice Coltrane and John Coltrane, who were such an essential ingredient in every part of our culture. The culture that we live today is so imbued with the work that they did and the work that they left behind in just every single way. They were such pioneers of wellness, pioneers of healing, pioneers of music, pioneers of Black love. And really, they were just two Black young kids who were just like trying to navigate also and make a way and build a family and express themselves and express the pain that was coming through them from generationally, express the joy that couldn't be subsided. And I feel so grateful that we're on this call. We are having a walk and talk. We have Michelle Coltrane, who's going to be joining us on the line. I just want to share a little bit about her bio. First of all, Tyrene, who runs the calls for us as a production, said she talked to Michelle because I was nervous, Morgan. I was like, this is a big deal. I went for a long walk right before this call, just to get my spirit ready.
That's why I was up there saying to this person, get yourself together. Don't be talking to the daughter of Alice Coltrane and don't have your spirit right. Can I tell you why this is important to me?
Yes.
Can I tell you why this is important to me? Because little Black girl Morgan, the move from the hood in Kansas, the projects in Wichita. Well, we didn't live in the projects. We lived in the duplex next to the projects. Let me identify with summer, but it's kind of still the projects. And I moved to Sacramento, and one of the first things I did was join the band. And it was a man named Mr. Smooth. He was tall, and he gave me a bass clarinet. And it sounds like a duck. And I tried to clean it, and I cleaned it with some kind of like something Lysol-y, and it stripped all the paint off. And I brought it back to that Black man at the school, and he said, "What did you do to this clarinet?" I was like, "Sir, I tried to clean it." So then he gave me a baritone saxophone. He was like, "You can't mess this up. It's huge." And I was skinny and little. So then when I got to high school and I was in marching band, they was like, "You cannot do the Barry saxophone in marching band." So they gave me the tenor saxophone. And the man who was my teacher in high school is Ike Pageant, and he loved John Coltrane so much. And I just lost him last year, and he was like a father, and he was a mentor. And when I was sitting in my house in Ghana, I was like, so sad when Mr. Pageant died. And the only thing I could console myself with is at least he's with John Coltrane now. John Coltrane. So this is for Mr. Pageant. I hope I make you proud, sir. And then this is also for my friend Chandler, who passed away a year and a half ago, who was a music teacher.
I can't hear you, Morgan. I know you're crying. Put your mouth up.
Sorry. I was saying it's also for my. Can you hear me? All right, can you hear me
now? Yeah, perfect. Yes.
I was saying it's also for my friend Chandler, who was the music teacher at Achievement First Bridgeport Academy, and he just passed away a year and a half ago. And when he passed away, I posted on his Facebook page the song "So What" on A Kind of Blue by Miles Davis, with I think John Coltrane is on, I'm pretty sure, because he's on that album for sure. And because Chandler used to make them fifth graders play that song every day next door to my office. It was horrible. It was like and when he died, I just played it so loud in my apartment, and then I played Love Supreme for him to send him off because John Coltrane's music is an invocation for us to love. So I cannot wait to learn about Alice Coltrane as a woman, as a mother, and as a wife, because I need her blueprint now, and I am super excited to talk to their daughter. So we are queued up and ready to go.
I'm excited to talk to her. I just, for those of you, I just want to give a little background to give her formal flowers because she deserves it. Michelle Coltrane was born in Paris, France. She is the only daughter of Alice and John Coltrane. She herself is a world-renowned musician. She's done everything from be a DJ to a voiceover artist to a background singer. She's released multiple albums to critical acclaim. She has toured the US and France as a soloist. She's played with a bunch of dope people, including the Gap Band and at the Montreux Jazz Festival. And maybe her most important work and role is right now, where she is working tirelessly to preserve the legacy of her family. She's working on it in California. She is working on it when their family's home in New York. And I'm so grateful that she's joining us now on this call so that we can talk to her about the self-care secrets that she's learned, about how we can rally our community, and just drop some gems as the daughter of Alice and John Coltrane. So I hope you're on the line, Michelle.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Vanessa?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi.
Hey. Hi, I've been listening to you all for the last 15 minutes.
Oh, thank you so much for being patient, girl. We got to set the tone. We got to let the people know what
I
it is.
hear you. I love it.
We got to just. How are you?
Very natural. Thank you. I'm fine. Thank you so much. When you were talking about whose daughter am I?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Who are you? Yes. Who are you, the daughter?
Well, I am the daughter of Alice Coltrane, Swami A.C. Turya Sangeetananda, who became a spiritual master. She was a divine instrument of the Supreme Lord. God endowed her with the highest wisdom and knowledge to engage in a life of spiritual service.
Ooh, y'all better hope your daughters describe you like that. Y'all better hope your daughters describe you like that. That's a tall bar right there.
She spent all her money shopping. No. Funny. You guys are comedians. Thank you so much for having me. Yes, I could go on, and you said it right when you said, now I spend my life, now this is what I do in my life. It's exactly what I do almost every day. I get to uphold the legacy of my parents, and it brings me the greatest happiness to be able to share that. And people are so interested in it. It's like very mysterious how they don't just fade away, you know?
Yeah, it's not mysterious at all. It is. I mean, there are. I'm. I'm a not a jazz head. I've only just discovered John Coltrane and Alice Coltrane, like both of their different respective even genres in like the last 24 months, maybe 40. I mean, maybe like 5 years in my life, but like really in the last 3 years, girl, I got a divorce. Then after you got divorced, you got to get into the music. So that's how I found both of them in music. A lot of backstory you probably didn't need to know, but I say that to say that it's so relevant still today. Like it speaks to the spirit and the soul. And
that's a great way of explaining it, because when something is good, whatever genre it is, it stays. And it speaks to ailing parts of people, spirits. So it speaks to the happy part of us. You know, that's kind of the way that, music is. It's like sweet and then it's serious. It has a serious side, but then you can be happy, ecstatic. You can, bring you to tears. It can cleanse you. And both of my parents have definitely their music has been described in that way. I've had people come up to me and grab my arm really hard and say, I quit smoking weed. I played this record every day, and it's like, and they're, you know, gripping me really like it meant so much to them, and yeah, many stories like that. But that one was kind of cute and funny. I thought I'd share. But I'm so glad you asked about the home that's in Long Island. It's the home we grew up in. We lived there in the early 60s. It's a mid-century 1950s home. And after we left, Steve Fulgoni, who is the president of the John Coltrane Home.org, uh, lived in the neighborhood, and he stopped it from getting torn down. So he went on a campaign. He found my mother. So we ended up retaining the home. And now, here, fast forward to today, we are working to restore the studio where my mother recorded. Um, Not the song you opened with. That was Sita Ram. Sita Ram is a Indian lullaby, and I got to travel with my mother a lot. And that my spiritual name is Sita, so I almost started crying when you played the music. I was like, not now, not before the interview. It's like it just got me, that organ. Did you hear that?
I heard it, and also I listened to it on my walk to get ready for this call.
Oh,
And I was like, wow, it's like a soulful sound bath. And
right.
Morgan and
Yes.
I often, yeah, Morgan and I always talk about like how, modern medicine is really just catching up to like all of the healing modalities that so many ancient like practitioners have already been tapped into. And your mom was just
Exactly.
so ahead of her time, even as like now people understand more about frequencies and vibration and all of that. It's just, I can't even begin to scratch the surface to understand like what's really happening within those tunes, but I feel it deep down. I feel it like deep down, and it feels like it's like speaking to my DNA and telling my body to realign. And I just kind of like try to embrace the music like that, and I feel something when I listen to it.
That's beautiful. My mother used to say, "This is what the universe sounds like." So, thank you so much for having me. Are there any questions, or do you just want me to inform you about what we're doing right now?
Oh no, we got a whole bunch of questions. We want to know about. We got a whole bunch of questions. This is really, yeah. It's like it's such a once in a lifetime opportunity for our community to hear from women like you who've like navigated life under the spotlight in the way that you have, who hold the stories of like our generational culture, and we want to learn from you and the women walking with us. And there's women walking right now live from every part of the world who are tuned
Wow.
in so that they can, yeah. So no, Morgan, I know you have a question, right?
I did. I was trying to double dutch in, but it was so zen, and I was like, "Listen, just calm yourself down, Morgan. Just be still. Just go back on mute." Because I have so many questions. And Michelle,
Yeah.
we often like describe our conversations as harmony because it's like our culture. We can have a cacophonous sound that is harmonious, and so I'd be like, "Ooh, what you just said? Yeah." It's like be talking
Yeah,
back, and so I don't
that's
mean any disrespect. I don't. And the question that I had was for, you said you used the word fade away, and then you talked about kind of this bigger alignment. And mostly because of my own grief with my teacher that I described and so many people in my life. I'm good. Thank you, sir. See, we out here live, y'all. My neighbor, like, you look like you want it. But, and I wonder and I know I was so fascinated by your parents, like tour of the world, exploring different, like, different perspectives on God, and religious practices and rites and musical rites. And so I'm curious to know, like, from a spiritual perspective and from a religious perspective, what so many of our people have a hard time saying daughters of stories
God.
because they've lost
Oh,
their parents. No,
they
because
have
they've
a hard
lost
time
their
saying
parents.
what?
Their daughters of story because they've lost their mother or they've lost their
Oh,
father. And I want to know from you, where do you think your parents are right now? And what is the religious backing to like
oh, shoot.
understand that?
Um, I just grew up hearing that this wasn't the end, that this earth is just, or it's a course, and a lot of the East Indian philosophies that that teach and speak of incarnation and being born again. This is the place that I was taught where you come to learn, and when you are God realized, then you get to go to another place, and I don't want to give it a name that I can't be specific about in a book. But my mother said that she could help us more on the other side, and it almost took me to the floor because I heard it from somebody else. She says, "You know what your mother told me?" And I was like, "Wow!" And so every time I carry her in my heart, just like all of the deceased people. Uh, they're strong, or they're burned brighter in your heart because that's the only place that you could visit them. So I know that if I'm wherever they are and wherever I'm fine here, and I will be fine there. Either side is fine with me. And that's helped me a lot as an adult to not have the fear of death. It's like I have to uh, the, have go for the darkness to light, from to be to live every day without fear, the fear of death,
Holy.
have
I,
that
I used to say
consciousness.
holy cow. No, I used to say holy cow, but that's rude. So I'm going to say Holy Ghost, and I don't know if that's rude, but my wig is blown back by that definition, and I want to play it over and over again.
Yeah.
It is so powerful. What you just said is so powerful. It makes me feel less afraid. And I
What is
used to be
all
so
the good
angry
people
that
we know, all the good people we know, right? How could I be afraid
yes,
to go be where they are?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like that
but
scene in
your
Wakanda
father
with the
passed.
tree.
Exactly. You watch your Wakanda. I'm such a fangirl. But your father passed away so young, and I would so many brilliant people passed away so young, and I questioned
Right.
the universe and my own faithlessness. Like, why would you take somebody away at the height of their
Well,
genius? But your
yes.
definition is so beautiful.
Right. And my mother said that she described it as beautiful. Not that the death was beautiful, but for a woman at 29 years old with 4 children to say that he wasn't in any pain at that point. I watched the breath go out of his body. Like, that transition is sacred. It's as sacred as birth. No, we try not to scream at the baby, maybe of joy, but we also shouldn't be screaming in the extension of a body that's going. And that's to think of that in that way. Not that you want to, it's when you're not you're going to experience every day to be prepared for it. But I honored my mother with that when I was with her when she ascended. And she said, "Don't come running down. The price is right." Ah.
Yeah, it's fear. I mean,
It
I
is.
was telling Vanessa earlier that, like, when I had an epiphany like last week that um like things are either said from love or fear. That's it. And when you realize that and people are talking to you and you're like, oh, that's fear, I recognize you. And then it's just
Right.
like, oh, you tricky fear, be gone. You know what I mean? Let's focus on love. Let's focus on
Right.
love. And
Be
so,
gone.
yeah. Vanessa, I know you have some other questions. Thank you for asking that. I was nervous to ask, but it was really
Oh,
helpful.
that's
I
okay.
appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you for asking it too, Morgan, because it's really insightful. And Michelle, you said it. Your mom, when your father passed away, was 29 years old. She had 4 children. We did an entire Black History Boot Camp episode on kind of the story of how she navigated that, and in particular, the practices that she used, meditation and yoga, etc., to heal herself. And I'm just wondering, like, what of those practices do you think were most essential, or which of those practices, your mother's self-care practices, healing practices, spiritual practices,
Mm.
have you adopted as most essential that you carry on in terms of like that, because that's a legacy she left behind too. It was so
True.
much bigger than music. he left this whole blueprint for survival, which is what do we do? And I'm wondering which of those practices are most essential to you right now.
Well, when we were children, instead of time out, we got mala beads and we had to meditate. So just to sit still. And that's really hard for kids. That's like a punishment. But we had the mala beads. We were all given a mantra, just some sacred words, just a few syllables to say over and over. And we'd have a little book and we'd have to write the mantra sometimes in the book. And that's was her not the only way we got reprimanded, but it was a good practice to you sit. It's almost like sit and think about what you did, but kind of sit and do this. You're saying sacred, holy names over and over, and that was the beginning of teaching us how to meditate. Because really, you people need something. A repetitious thing in the mind to stop thinking about laundry and what time you have to go. So you say the mantra and you sit to to just kind of quiet the mind. And then now when grown up, I can meditate without saying the mantra all the time. They're the beads that you can still have in your hand where you're not really. Uh, you just kind of go to that place, find that quiet spot. As an adult, the yoga, I loved exercise. I was I rode horses and I did gymnastics and all this stuff. So the yoga as I got older was the perfect thing. It's the stretching of the yoga because we are as young as our spine is. If you keep the spine young, it'll help the body function properly. So the pulling and the stretching is beautiful, and it also allows the mind when you're doing the poses, the mind can relax. So between the two of those that's a great thing to have in your everyday life. And I keep a yoga mat in my room, even if I just do stretches on it on my back in the morning.
Michelle, I was
Um,
I was laughing when you were talking about mantra because I was like, for people who are new to different religious practices, I know everybody thought about Tina Turner saying some Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. I was what got to do with it. And I was wondering, like, and rest in peace. And we celebrate your ascension, Tina Turner. She was just such a beautiful soul as well. And I wonder what your favorite mantra is or mantras are.
Well, I'm not
Could you
allowed
share
to
them with
say
us?
my mantra is a sacred mantra, and I wasn't supposed to share it. So I guess I don't know what other people's are, but there
Ah,
are lines you can, like I gave mine to my children because they were not old enough to to be initiated as a student, to go through that ritual purpose. But back to the Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. What's interesting is I went to Wayne Shorter. I don't know if you know the
yes.
legendary saxophone. Well, he had there was a concert hosted by Herbie Hancock, who also is a Buddhist. I guess says the Nam-myoho Renge Kyo too, and Wayne's memorial the next day was like at a center, like a big beautiful building in Santa Monica, and I heard hundreds of people in their service. Namyo Renge Kyo, Namyo Renge Kyo, Namyo Renge Kyo. Imagine hearing hundreds of people's voices do that. It was for 10 minutes. It was
Wow.
really, really something. So
Wow.
Wayne followed that also, Buddhism. So yeah,
I
it's
I'm fascinated by you having your own sacred, and I don't want you to say it, but thank you for holding. No, I thank you for holding something
I
sacred.
like that
We all need
too.
something
Yeah.
very sacred. Yeah, and I guess my point was because I think, speaking of fear and love, I think there is some fear around what we don't know, particularly as Black women, that could be really beautiful healing tools. And when I first started practicing yoga many years ago, I started learning about even Om and like what
yeah, you
and this
could say
proverbial sound. Yeah, this proverbial sound of Om.
oh. Yeah, it's supposed to
Yes.
be the lowest sound, what the world is spinning, that low. If we could all just be quiet, like that's what the globe is trans hum. That's why some people spell it OHM. Hum. They don't say oh. Uh, you can use that as your mantra,
Yeah, I think it is
and
a good one for people.
or you just get up and say thank you for the trees,
Yes,
whoever you think
yes.
built planted them.
Yeah.
when my kids say, I don't know if I believe in God, I said, can you make a tree? Can you make some dirt? Just make some water. Something simple. Go in that room and come out when you make it. So I get up, and then sometimes I just say thank you for. It's a great. Like you're grateful for the air, the trees. Just at that moment, it isn't about me. Like God help me, I can't figure this out, and how am I going to pay this bill? I try to just have a grateful moment of what is simplest thing.
I love that advice. I love that advice. And I love listening for the in nature and listening for the sounds, or like there's crickets behind me right now and there's like some cicada sounding something, and letting that reverberate. And I was also struck by my aunt would hum all the time when she would wash dishes, and her humming sounds like Om, and it makes me think that Black women have such. It does such
just
ancient
like a
knowledge.
baby. My daughter, when she was 2-year-old little kid playing with their toy, they started with, and my mom would point, like, listen, like, me young mom, I didn't get now I get it. It soothes us. It's soothing. So it's self-soothing. Yeah, that's a wonderful thing. And the music and what you said about my parents traveling is it helped to not be fearful of other people's cultures. My mother was right on it. She'd go, oh, that man's he's a Sikh, and that's why he has that hair and that it's the turban. And then she'd point out those people. So it was kind of like our little lesson all the time in culture, and that helps to equalize. They're just people too. That just happens to be their dress or the way they celebrate with their food and music and culture. That is the greatest gift. Well, one of the many gifts, but a big gift given having.
Did you see that Sikh prayer by that woman Valerie Kaur? There was something called the Sikh prayer. Did you ever see that, Michelle?
No.
Where she talked about birthing.
Oh, I'm
gonna send it to you.
About. Yeah,
Please
it's really
do.
beautiful.
I love all those kind of things.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you.
We can send it out when we send. We're going to talk about your house and your efforts to preserve it in a minute, and then we'll even, of course, send this recording far and wide with the link of how to donate. But
awesome.
I haven't. When you just were talking about your parents, I genuinely was like, I know you were saying that was one of the greatest gifts they gave you, and I want to know, like, there's so much documented about them, and I'm wondering if, like, as a storyteller now, because one of the things about our Daughters of campaign that we're also trying to get women to understand is that we are the keepers of the stories, of the knowledge, and that knowledge has to be passed down in the written tradition. And sometimes it requires us to, like, remember painful things, but it's so powerful that we can tell stories. And I just wonder, as the keeper of your family stories, what do you think that people, like, get right or get wrong or about your family story?
Get right or get wrong. What's another fascinating thing, and maybe it's just because people won't come up and say something negative about an artist if they don't dig the music. It's usually, where can I sign up? What can I do? What do you need? They just seem to have been, which made it hard on us kids, and the fact, like, now we've got to, say that as a joke. It's like you have to kind of be out of respect for your family, which everyone should. Shouldn't have to be celebrity parents, but out of respect for your family and your elders and your the name for elders, but your legacy is to omit that, so people can kind of get a sense of what they were like by some of those sharings, like if it's a folk thing, or how we did with recipes, or how it's exactly what we're doing. All of us with that have had a grandma. I listen to my hairdresser's grandma stories every time I go in there. She has another grandma story, and that's what we're all doing. With my parents, they just happen to be in the public eye, So things were asked about. Uh, they had sadly, we had such a beautiful beginning, but it was very short because, like you said, someone very young was taken at 40 years old and left a 29-year-old woman raise 4 children. So, uh, how how did she remain to transform herself from such a tragic situation to such a beautiful situation? Having to know that there was a higher power, that she was directed by authority, really engaged herself in it. Times.
Michelle, can I ask a follow-up question to? Oh, sorry.
Sure, sure.
I'm sorry. I want to ask a follow-up question to that, Michelle. Sorry, I'm breaking up. Hold on one second. Let me get into a better place.
Breaking up. She's breaking up.
Am I still breaking?
I can hear you.
No, I can hear you. I can hear you too.
Oh, you can.
It's fine.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Whoa, Love Supreme. Can we talk about it? Like, I know the role that your mother played in inspiring love in your father, and like you said something so beautiful about your mother in the beginning, that she was I don't know if you use this word, but like a vessel for God's love, and she like let it pour out of her. My words, not yours. And I just listened to it before this call, and it is otherworldly, the level of the articulation of love. It is a new canon, right? And I saw, I don't know how you felt about the movie Chasing Train, but I saw it not too long ago again. And I was so moved. I thought it was moving, but I also respect you and want to know what you think about it. I thought it was really beautiful and moving. Let's talk about that. I hear some energy. Let's talk about that. I'll get to my question later.
No, there's just mixed reviews. If you want to, you want to talk. It's very hard for me to come up with anything negative that people have to say about John and Alice, unless they say they just don't get the music, or they'll say they don't mean it negatively. They mean, I just don't. If you've been on the 2 and 4, beat your whole life and you didn't, it's like trying Gruyere, and you've only had cheddar cheese, mild, maybe not even sharp. You have to be introduced to it, and it's like once you get in, you can ride the train, because the music just goes. It can just go beyond to infinity, and so that Love Supreme actually.
Okay, but you like the movie, or you?
Oh,
but
you
did
got
you like
me
the
out
movie,
of it.
Michelle?
Okay,
did
yes,
you like the movie?
I did. I liked it. I liked it. Not because I was in the movie. I liked it because there were it was kind of like Train 101. A lot of people just didn't know a lot, and it was an opportunity for them to see a documentary that wasn't structured around jazz people talking about jazz. That's the only thing I'd ever seen before. And it gets a little bit inside when you do it like that. It's like, doctors having talk about what they do, and you're not into medicine, So it was a way to show the man, Yeah.
That's the part that I enjoyed. I enjoyed his actual words being read by Denzel Washington, and then mostly I enjoyed the archival photos and videos of your family and your house and your mother. And when I saw her face in that documentary, she reminded me of every Black woman that has that radiance that you cannot describe.
When I saw Michelle Obama and standing on that grass with those kids and the dog and the dad, all I could think of reflect back was to me being a kid with my parents standing with their Jaguar, with us playing in the grass and whatever. It's like, because there's not many of those images that I have in my, memory bank. Not many.
Oh my God, I'm getting chills. Yes. And I saw her, and I actually thought about it. I talk about her quite a bit on boot camp. My Aunt Verlene, who is radiant. And I know my Aunt Verlene's story. and where she sourced that. It's almost like, they say the peacock gets its colors from the poison that it eats, and it converts it into this vibrance. I've heard this a lot, like in Indian culture. Yes, and I know that through long suffering, that you were able to cultivate this kind of other fruit of the spirit of love and kindness and goodness, and that glow comes from actual transcendence, like you say. And so when I saw her, I was like, I know that, and I understand it, and I know the role she played without anybody telling me any words. And so I just do. I do. I know he could not have written that love song without this woman. I knew it as soon as she came on the screen.
And it was a love of God, not love between a man and a woman.
That's right.
That's why it's supreme. And the home in Long Island is the site of that composition. My mom said in an interview that he went upstairs and he said, I'm going to, he just had to get away from the kinetic energy of the children running everywhere. And she said he stayed up there for, I don't know, weeks or something, or a week, and she would bring his food. You're like, there you go, the support of your man. Like, he's up there trying to do something. Don't knock on the door and say, hey, this is broken down, there's a flood. She let him be, she said, and would knock on the door, put the food under the door. And she said when he came down the stairs, he said, I got it all. And she said it was like Moses coming down the mountain. And that was that. I love Supreme.
Can I tell you that right now on this dirt road in South Carolina on the Gullahsee Islands, it is the most beautiful sky I have ever seen. It is purple at the base. It goes up to this really beautiful magenta. There are these feathery clouds stretched around the horizon. I can see 365 degrees of horizon and then bright blue piercing through. So I just want you to know
gave
that.
Me the chills. I love clouds.
Yes, I just want you to know that our ancestors, our foremothers are here, and that love is indeed supreme, and we have access to it. And I'm so grateful for your family and what they have done for our people and how they have articulated the love that we all share. I am just so grateful for it. I really am. And then can we talk about romantic love? Because we have talked a lot about supreme love, and I don't think they're separate, by the way, necessarily. But on a practical level, when you were just saying she took her man some food, she let him be. I was like, I need a whole manual from Alice Coltrane, because it's taking everything in me not to call my man right now and tell him, I see where he is. You know what I'm saying? It's just like,
right. And I always would say, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go.
No, I would say, wow, if my man was back there trying to come up with a cure for cancer, I'd let him be too. It's like, but you're back there playing pool and goofing around listening to music. You got to come out here.
It's a good distinction, Michelle. That's what I'm saying. So those are, it's a good distinction. Your man better be John Coltrane. Your man better be John Coltrane.
That's a tough act to follow, I must say.
It is. But I have a question about that, because I wonder, and I know that, how old were you when your father passed?
6.
6 or 7.
That year, yeah.
So I wonder, and did your mother ever remarry?
I didn't get that either. I just always saw a lot of women, why do they stay alone after that? Like, they get a divorce or someone would die, and I always said, I'm never going to, that's not what I want. I want to work to have the whole family at the table. And it's quite a job. I feel it wasn't that. Now I see exactly why. They weren't lonely, or people. My mother had said, who am I going to have around my children? They were little. She had a 3-month-old baby, 6-month-old baby.
Wow.
That's a lot. 4 kids under the age of 6, 7. So who do you go on dates with at that point? So she said we were her presence.
Well, you're not going to get nobody as good as John Coltrane, so I understand that.
I used to name people. I used to mention people, like celebrities. I'm not going to say the names. She would just.
You got to say the name. Who was it? It was Gregory Hines. Who was it?
If you. Yeah, I'd be looking for people for her. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to know, in your own relationships in life, romantic, and I think Black love is hard. I think it is hard because we bring our own trauma
Beale
into
Street.
the love.
Did you see Beale Street? I just teared the whole time.
It was so sad. It's just like, no, 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 no. But like, are there lessons about like loving a man or loving a woman or loving a partner that you got from your mother that you want to repeat? And are there things
Yep.
you want to avoid that you want to
Yep.
avoid from that she taught
Yep.
you?
Yep. It was all about letting the Lord guide you. Listen. Don't pray and ask for it. And when you hear it, that's the lesson. When you hear it, don't try to avoid it, because I told you, like I told you once, like what is it? Or told you twice. It's like that's the direction. You have to follow the follow instructions, because my mom, Monument Eternal, so she said, I want to know you. Do you want to know me? God was saying to her. Yes, then you have to follow what I tell you, the directions that I give. So hers was based on getting a higher meaning. I want to know God. You want to know God, really? Are you prepared for that? Is, are we, as just mere human mortals, are we prepared for that? So that her direction. So I don't have any good. I had aunties and
No, Michelle, you just spoke a whole word. You said you want to have a good relationship in Black love. Are you following God?
Oh my God! I'm just trying to not discourage anybody, or it just depends on what you want. If you want to be a householder, you want to be a home. Or I tell my daughter that. She says, I'm at work. I said, well, if you get married, there's work involved in that too. Even if you're a stay-at-home mom, and it's work that you might not be appreciated for. And having children, you may not. So you've really got to make sure that if you take that walk, if you take that choice, make that choice, then you got to walk the walk, because it's not a puppy. So I love Black love. Yes, of course. I dream about it. I love seeing it. When I see it, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for our race. We need more people. My family was big, and it's getting smaller because a lot of people they're not having babies like they used to.
No, because
Not
we're not
that.
listening to God and following. I mean, you were so right. Because we're not being still enough to even practice love. Love is a
Yeah.
practice.
And
It
as
is a
a
daily
50-year-old
practice.
aunt, oh my God, there were so much. There were like 8, 10, 15 first cousins. It's not like that.
Yes.
They
It's
all have
not, Michelle,
dogs.
like
My kids
everybody.
have dogs, and
Yes.
they drop them off over here, and I call them my grand dogs because
Yes. I mean,
no
so
baby.
many people we grew up with, Vanessa and I, have just not had kids at all, including Vanessa and I, or married. And part of it is when we were in college trying to like break through poverty, quite frankly, and trauma, quite frankly, we just got into this race that is just like, they say like the vacillations of your mind, this monkey brain that's just like, go, 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 do, achieve.
Yeah, right. My mother said,
And
"Would
it's
you
just,
slow down?"
what
It's
else did
not
she
a
say?
race.
That's a good question. Yes. What else? What were her things that she used to tell you? What was the advice that she gave you in life?
Oh, I would try to have, my kid had to be tutored in this and learn how to swim, and preschool, and she, she'd say, she's gonna learn how to read. She's gonna learn how to, like, why don't push, enjoy life, like live in the moment, like how yoga teaches that, the present, you know. And when we're all, we have to make plans for the future. Very had a regal quality about her. Her walking, she didn't move like Edith Bunker. That running around from, that the pot to the here to there. She's very stoic, reading, sitting outside. Uh, they're very elegant, but not with like long robes on. Maybe if only in her concerts, but in her everyday life, very relaxed person who got rid of every microwave I tried to drop off over there. I can wait. I can wait stove to heat up. I can wait for the kettle to boil.
I love that fact.
I love it
I wore a
too. I
long
love
dress
it
just
too.
for your mom today. That's all you should know. I wore a muumuu, and my hair is parted in the middle, and I'm trying to
Right,
walk
there
like
you
her.
go. Yep.
Vanessa, I'm
She's
getting
a
rid of my microwave.
vegetarian.
I know, all right? I
She
know.
didn't go to movies with shoot 'em ups, and she just kept. That's the way she wanted her environment to be. Cursing, and if she'd come to the barbecue, but then she would leave. She wouldn't say, "What are y'all doing? Cooking them ribs and drinking." She'd come say hi to her family, and she'd just go off to her home or back to the hotel if we were out of town at a reunion. But she didn't put it on people. Like, this is the way I chose to live. But she didn't. You know how people try to say,
Oh, I love that. I really, really
encourage
love
people
that.
through, a little judgy. But
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because your example is the best thing that you can have, and the joy that's radiating from you,
let's
and like,
speak on it.
and
Speak
either
on it.
people want to follow it or not, or either people are like, oh, I see that, and it's like, it is the testament to it. It's like, there's a quote that I love that says, the grateful man knows that God is good, not by hearsay, but by experience. And I just
You
feel that also just about like how people move in the world and how your mother moved in the world. It was so authentic, obviously authentic to who she was. So I'm not surprised to hear
beautiful,
exactly what you
beautiful
just
words.
said. Yeah, yeah. Michelle, you have poured into us so much wisdom, and I wonder if, and I'm so grateful, and I know the women walking are so grateful. And I wonder if we can, as we get ready to close down, talk about the home in Dix
Oh,
Hills
that's
and
great.
Long Island. Because
Beautiful.
when I tell you that we are the ones we've been waiting for, and and no, our communities are getting, we can't be having conversations about how did this stuff happen when Nina Simone's house gets sold, or Rosa Parks' house gets bulldozed down, or a whole shopping mall gets put on top of an African American gravesite, or all these type of things. Like, we can't just be sitting here talking. Well, look, but thankfully they stopped it here in DC, but that was what they were trying to do, right? And so I'm just saying that, like, we have to raise our voices. We have
It's
to
called
understand
Hilton.
the story.
All of Hilton Head is on all
of Hilton Head, exactly.
Stop all this,
Lord,
y'all.
Lord.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, our
Yes.
home was safe from demolition, and it was unique that two uh, African American people lived and wrote and did their work in the home. There were groundbreaking albums recorded by my mom soon after she became a widow, which is so powerful too. Because now, as a grown woman, looking back to think a year or 2 years after she'd lost her husband, she recorded these albums as a leader, as a composer in this era when women were, just trying to. There weren't many women doing Nina Simone, maybe Joni Mitchell, or, they were record companies were taking note of this, and we want to open the home to the public as a cultural historical site that tells an American story, an African American story. The home is an intersection for many historical threads: artistic, creative history, women's history, African American culture and achievement, American culture and achievement, jazz history and spiritual history. Did I get all that in? We're going to rebuild the studio where these groundbreaking recordings were done, and there will be a sort of museum aspect where it shows what it used to look like, and we want it to be a state-of-the-art studio where we can have artists in residency come and use the studio, probably for no cost or nominal fees, and then we can have veterans of the industry come studio.
Michelle, we are committed to helping. Yeah, we are committed to helping. We are, and GirlTREK as a nonprofit is committed to preserving Black history. And we, I don't know if you know, but we just literally bought Dr. King's office in Montgomery to serve as our Southern headquarters. Yes, and we are on a mission. Our members don't ever ask our members for anything. Ever ask our members to donate. We ask them to donate with their feet, to walk. But when this opportunity came up, when you heard, Like you guys called it, for y'all who don't know.
Because the slaves had to use their feet to communicate. So yeah.
Yes, and we have the power of a million women just walking and stomping out solutions in their neighborhoods. So there's enough money out there. We don't need the money of our members. But this is different. This is our community. And I'm just thinking, like, how do we have resources. So if I have resources, I want to put it in saving the studio that your mother recorded in, John Coltrane, your father recorded in, and magic was made. And I was just like, so GirlTREK is going to put up $10,000 to match. Hopefully we get $10,000 from our members. If you have $5, if you have $20, please do that. But here's the thing. Somebody like, who on the call know Missy Elliott, Pharrell, Barack Obama, somebody who loves jazz.
And they all love jazz.
That's right. Spike Lee.
Obama loves jazz.
Yo, our community
the Clintons love jazz. Yeah.
Yes.
And
somebody knows
got more than 5 on it.
Yes. Yeah. First gentleman, Doug Hemhoff. That's married to Kamala. He named his children Ella and Cole. And they were in a Vanity Fair article saying that they were named after John and Alice Coltrane. But I wanted to let everybody know, too, is that the home has been designated a national treasure. So homes like the Nina Simone, home, they were like on the list to be gone. So we were on the endangered list. So now we have the help of the National Trust for Historic Preservation that are helping guide us. And I appreciate
y'all. There ain't no way that we can let this studio not be well preserved, or we have to rely on like government spin downs or anything like that. We can support. We went to Michelle. We went to Fannie Lou Hamer's gravesite down in Mississippi, GirlTREK's national team, and the grass was overgrown at Fannie Lou Hamer's gravesite. And we were just like, where is the national park? Where is it? So we just paid to get the grass mowed. And it's just like, we sometimes have to step in the gap to preserve these kinds of sacred spaces. And so, yes, as ordinary women like we are, we want to give our $5, our tithes, to help preserve what is sacred to us. But we are also calling out, I know some of y'all's cousin is somebody. Somebody. If Beyonce is somebody,
and when we share this recording, that's right.
Who wants to record their own album in that
studio where John and Alice Coltrane live? That's right.
Yes.
Well, I did you put in your website the coltranehome.org/donate? People know how to do it?
Everybody got an email in their inbox this morning with that exact link that goes directly to the donate page. And next week, we will be sending this recording out like we do. So the recording will go out nationally and it'll be on our social media. And feel free to tag who you need to tag in the recording, forward the email, and say this is a community call out. Take a walk, listen to this powerful Daughters of conversation with GirlTREK and Michelle Coltrane, and run up them numbers. That's what we need to tell people. And y'all need to slide. And y'all need to slide into the DMs of people, and we need to do a call out on them Clintons and everybody else and say, please support this. That's what needs to happen.
Y'all, this is just the first. This is the first Daughters of story where we are talking to the Daughters of Legends. You are the first in what I'm saying here, which is we're talking to the Daughters of Legends who are actively preserving, where we can lean in with collective action. Where we can lean in with collective action. Yeah, so I'm excited about this new agenda we got going here. Who should we talk to next?
Great. And how do I sign up? How can I be a member? What do I have to do?
Oh, thank you for asking that, Michelle. We appreciate you. First of all, you go to girltrek.org so that you've been linked into them emails that we were sending with that donation link. So go on in there, be counted amongst a million. You're going to get a weekly email from Morgan and I. It'll be a reflection. There'll be a call to action. You'll know what to do. And the first thing you do is lace up and take a walk. If tomorrow you take one walk around your property or wherever you're at, you are officially counted in the movement. When you take 5 walks in 1 week, we send you a free GirlTREK t-shirt. When you get 21 walks in 30 days, we send you a pair of GirlTREK golden shoelaces. And we are building our movement one woman, one walk at a time, because that puts us over a threshold, yes, a behavior change that saves our lives and prepares us for this frontline work that we're doing. So we invite you to walk with us and continue to walk with us.
I love. I'm sorry to go read, but I love what you're doing. I was like, I'm so inspired. I should have thought of it myself, but it's perfect. To match that, listening and walking, and learning at the same time.
Thank you so
That's
much,
how you
Michelle.
live. Yes, that's how you stay alive. To keep learning, keep walking, keep moving, keep breathing. I'm so tickled that you interrupted, Vanessa. I'm so happy because you're so good. I was like, I got more.
I'm just so excited, and I wanted to tell you that before I called, and it's like, oh no, it's going to end, and I would have not said it.
No, that was the perfect question. I'm just saying, on a personal level, people be out there judging when I be excited. They be like, "Can you just pipe down so we can hear the guest?"
Could you calm down?
And I'm like, I am fired up.
More monotone.
Well, I'm grateful to talk to you, Vanessa. It's been so nice spending this evening walking together.
It has been. The rain is coming down in DC. It's a beautiful evening. Michelle, you've been so gracious. Michelle has also curated a list of music, a playlist of her favorite songs for us. So we will send that out in the email for everybody. And if you're live on this call, we're getting ready to wrap up. And Michelle gave us some outro music. It's the Toria and the Ramakrishna. I hope I said that right.
Ramakrishna. It appeared on Atlanta. It was on one of the episodes of Atlanta.
It was. I didn't know that, but I've heard it many times. And y'all, it's we're gonna offer it to those who have on this Friday evening, against all odds, Michelle, because you know how it is on a Friday evening for a woman to choose herself. For her to say, like, I'm gonna go ahead and go on this walk and be with GirlTREK and Michelle Coltrane. Like, I salute the women who did it, and we're gonna offer you the entire song. It's 8 minutes, and it's just like I'm just like, we're gonna play it out as like a meditation for women, so that you can let the week that you survived process through you, so that you could call in a beautiful rest and restoration for yourself over the weekend, so that you can process everything that you've heard on this call. Morgan, Michelle, do either of you have any final words as we get ready to close out?
From the West Coast, on behalf of John and Alice Coltrane and the entire family, Om Shanti. Go girls, GirlTREK.
Woohoo! I'm so excited. That's all I got to say. I love you all. Thank you. I love you, Michelle. Thank you for your work.
This was great. Beautiful. Take care now.
Thank you.